Hello everybody and welcome back to Lounging with Leash. Today special guest Roxy Pup is here for those of you watching on YouTube, and she is extra special today because I think she has a little cough, so hopefully she's not too close to the microphone with that wheezing she has. She was vaccinated and everything, but apparently she's still got probably a camel cough. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us today. Today's topic is probably one of my favorite things to talk about in the whole wide world, and it's something I've alluded to in probably every single episode up until now about that I have to talk about at some point. So it only makes sense that it's today, and that topic is The Bachelor, specifically The Bachelorette, because I thought about how I do this. And I can't just fit everything I want to say into one 20-minute segment about all of the franchises, all the shows. So today we are focusing primarily on The Bachelorette and the most critical thing that has just happened in Bachelor Nation, which is the Clare Crowley spoiler, if you will, which I normally don't like spoilers, but also do a little backup and my backstory on how I became obsessed with The Bachelor and then my favorite Bachelorette contestants and leads. So before we get started, as always, today my cup of choice or my mug of choice is very on brand for a Bachelor topic. It's a wine glass, but not just any wine glass. This is a Yeti wine glass, which is, if you know the brand, and of course this is not sponsored yet, it is a company that makes really well-made insulated cups and coolers and glasses and stuff. And so this particular cute turquoise one was given to me by my sister-in-law and my brother for Christmas, I believe. And I'm not kidding you, if you put a chilled rosé or Chardonnay or something in here, it stays way colder than it would in a normal glass, even if you're outside. So Sacramento patios, I'll take this out by the pool at my parents' or in my backyard, and it really does last longer, which is crazy because it's open on the top, doesn't even have a lid. So cheers. Thank you to Tony and Vanessa for that. Today it's just water, even though it would be more appropriate to have wine, but I'm going on a little bit of a cleanse here before things ramp up for the weekend shenanigans. So anywho, okay, on to the topic at hand. So first things first, the backstory. So I actually didn't really start watching The Bachelor. I did the math. I looked at the different history on their Wikipedia, the most official news source, and I think it was only it was Ben Higgins' season, which was the first one I started watching, and I believe that was 4 years ago, I want to say. So I'm kind of new to the Bachelor world in the grand scheme of things, considering it's been going on for 18 years or 16 years or something crazy. And they've had 24 seasons, I want to say. Something insane like that. So I'm a newbie, but I know what I like. And Ben was the perfect place to start because he was a great bachelor and he got himself into some hot water with telling two girls he loved them. And so I was like, oh, this drama, this is made for me. And I always joke that when I, watch the drama on TV, I don't create it in my own life. So that's kind of part of my strategy. And the other reason I really love these shows is that I am also into, self-development and personal improvement with a psychological edge to it. And basically you cannot get any more into a person's emotions and brain than when they're in a reality, what I would call an experiment, right? They are in this situation, they're showcasing their most true selves and their true emotions and sharing it. I mean, of course, some of the people are calculated and probably a little bit more guarded, but even that tells you about somebody, right? So I really enjoy the show from that perspective, and it actually teaches me about myself too. I can watch and say, oh, I would have totally played that situation differently, or oh, I totally see the situation the same as this person, or I would have felt this way. You know, it's kind of fun to see how you plug into the experience. And so for today, though, like, if any of you are Bachelorette fans, the major spoiler that came out today was that, okay, so it's coronavirus, right? And Clare Crawley is her name. She was supposed to be this Bachelorette. The season was supposed to start filming like months ago. Well, we're in a pandemic and we're supposed to be quarantining, so that was on hold. Well, I think it's a little bit ironic and also a little bit horrible because she's kind of been, I don't know if slighted is the word, but she's been knocked a little bit for being older in air quotes, meaning 39. Usually the leads are younger, and especially the women for whatever reason, which is kind of crazy. But so she's quote unquote older, and the fact that they made her wait this long, and then a global pandemic happens, so she has to wait even longer, is just sad and ironic and just mean. So anyways, so they got to the point where they were starting to film, and I guess what they did is they made everyone quarantine, and they're going to start filming in Palm Springs and make sure no one has the virus and this and that, and I don't know all the parameters, but anyways, I guess they had started filming the last week or two, and normally it's like super under wraps. No one knows what's happening unless they go on a date or something, and then people see them out in the wild. Well, this was supposed to be like very much on lockdown because it's at one resort. I think it's at La Quinta or something. And so no one expected to hear anything. And then I guess recently there were some speculations that maybe she quit the show or decided that she didn't want to do it anymore because she already found her love. And there was something silly, like she liked a tweet on Twitter that obviously, and that kind of indicated to some people that maybe she had her phone back, which would confirm the fact that she is no longer filming and no longer the lead. But it's all speculative at this point, although I think some sources are claiming that it's true. There's been no official statement from The Bachelor yet at this point in time, as of recording. But it's all just pretty wild because that has led to other rumors saying that maybe Tayshia Adams from Colton's season, I think her last name is Adams, will take over for her, which to me, it's just really not that exciting. Like, I definitely want another black bachelorette. We've had one before, but she just seemed so, and I'm sorry, Tayshia, like, if you ever watch this, she just seemed so plain Jane on Colton's season, and that could have been her edit, and I'm sure she's wonderful, but I was a little bit like bummed that we didn't get to see all of the Clare craziness that at least The Bachelor has cut her to be, right? So we all know that The Bachelor is heavily edited, and you can make someone have a particular storyline, supposedly, as long as the pieces fit. So she has had in the past, like, she was a contestant on several different, I think, like Bachelor in Paradise, Bachelor Winter Games, Bachelor, she's been on a bunch. And I actually have been rewatching Bachelor in Paradise because it's on Hulu right now, because they have no new shows to put out. And it's way better than watching Bachelor Goat, in my opinion. But, so she's been on that, and the first season that she was on, she was actually really funny and interesting, and I'm like, oh, I could probably be her friend. And wouldn't you know it, she's actually from Sacramento area and has been spotted at freaking Crateville before. I guess she's a hairdresser. So anyways, I was like, oh, she seems pretty cool. I could probably be her friend. And then I think the way she got edited, they're like, oh, maybe we need a villain. Like, this season is boring or something. And so they kind of like made her out to be this, like, I think a little bit more like hard ass than she might really be. Like, I see this kind of like sweet and really genuine person underneath some of the edits she got. But also, like, I mean, I will say it is true, I don't think she made the best decisions always, because there's been a couple times where she'd get, like, multiple guys would be interested in her, and she'd, like, maybe not necessarily follow her heart. In my opinion, obviously. She'd go more to, like, well, let's see what guy wants me more. And like, try to play that way instead of going, like, oh, what's more in my best interest? Who do I feel the most? And so I think that kind of burned her a couple times, which sucks. But anyways, I think that's kind of like the summary on the Clare situation. I really do hope so. Apparently she's already engaged to one of the guys on that was there for her, and he looks really cute. So hopefully that works out for her, because maybe this time around she's like, hey, I know what I want, and I'm sure, so much so that I'm shutting down production for myself anyways, and that'd be pretty badass actually. So hopefully that's what happened. I hope she's happy. I hope she comes back to Sacramento, because that'd be pretty cool. We'd probably be friends. And yeah, although I have a hairstylist that I like, so maybe we could just be friends. Okay. So, but before I wrap this up, I do want to just say a couple of my other favorite bachelorettes, because this would not be a complete Bachelorette episode. And maybe I'll do a whole one on them at some point, but Kaitlyn Bristowe was my first Bachelorette, I believe. No, maybe Rachel Lindsay. I don't know. Either way, those two and Hannah Brown are the 3 seasons that I watched pretty much every episode. And Rachel's story was fantastic. I loved watching her. She had a great group of guys, by the way, and I still follow Dean. He's great. And she just was a powerhouse of a woman. She's an attorney. She's smart. She's funny. She knows what she wants. And she ended up with a incredible man, seemingly. I don't think he was my favorite. Actually, Peter was my favorite that season, but they had that crazy talk at the end where it was just like, he couldn't promise her engagement. So she went with whatever his name is. I can't remember now, but they look really happy. And I think they're getting married. I think they had to postpone it because of Corona, but Rachel's a badass, and she has her own podcast too. So if you want to listen to that, check that out. It's actually with Becca Kufrin, who was, I think, the next Bachelorette. I could be getting the order messed up, but I watched her season 2. She had a hell of a time with her situation, because she was chosen by Ari Lyondike, who was also, why the hell did they choose him? I don't know. Probably because they wanted people to be angry about it. But he chose her, proposed to her, and then decided it wasn't her, and broke up with her on television, no less. And then he went after Lauren, whatever her name is. And this poor girl, had a hell of a time on the show. But that perfectly, teed her up to be the Bachelorette. She killed it. She did a great job. She ended up choosing Garrett, who's actually from, Nevada, NorCal area, too. And they seem to be a really good match. I really liked him, but they've been going through a little bit of I wouldn't say it's a rough patch in their relationship, but he's been kind of targeted, if that's the right word, for some kind of poor taste social media posts. And so she's addressed it on her podcast with Rachel, having to do with the Black Lives Matter movement. So I think she did a really good job at trying to stand by her man, but also not be accepting of some of the things that he has said, and trying to help educate him, which to me would be just very hard to, number one, do it in the public eye, and number two, to someone who doesn't seem to get it. She's trying to help him get it. But she's super cool. They did, and here's another tidbit for you. So Bachelor Live, Becca was slotted to co-host that with Ben, and the plan was to go to 60-some cities around the country and host mini Bachelor, sped up shows in a 3-hour or 2.5-hour segment where it's live in front of the audience. People apply beforehand to become contestants, and each city chooses a bachelor, in air quotes, to do the mini dates on stage. And fun fact, this all started before coronavirus. They were getting going. I actually applied for the one in Reno because that was the closest one, and made it as a finalist, but I didn't get chosen. They chose 10 girls to be contestants for this one guy who is probably a great guy, but was not my type, so I was okay with it. But it would have been really fun. He was like a sports media co-host on some news channel or something like that up in the Reno area. But anyways, I do know somebody, like a friend of a friend who I met several times, ended up being on it, and she won. So kind of crazy. I don't think they ended up together, but it's kind of funny to think. It's just a small ass world. But I did go watch it. My mom and I went to Reno for the night and watched a show, and it was really, really fun. But coronavirus put a stop to all of that. Like, I don't even know how much money that must have cost them or how that worked out, because they literally were going to be on the road for like months and months. They were doing a back to back to back, and luckily our town got to see it all. But just such a wild time we're in. And then that leads me to Kaitlyn Bristow to wrap this up, because I could just go on and on and on, and I'm kind of worried my phone battery is going to die. But Kaitlyn is probably my favorite Bachelorette of all time, because she was the most, I think, like, honest and real. She partied, she had sex with somebody, she owned up to her mistakes, she was honest. And I'm not saying like you should do those things, but I'm saying like she was real human. You know, there was not a lot of filtering happening. You could tell when she felt bad about what she had done with Nick. She told Sean, like, all the things that like would be really, really hard to do even in real life. She did them all on television. And so I just give so much props to Kaitlyn and what she's gone through, and just being like a girl who has been honest, like on her social media, about suffering with anxiety and depression and how she's working through that. And the other thing with Kaitlyn is there's kind of a theme now I'm gathering in my episodes, where she's managed to turn this fame that she has into a wine brand. I think it's called like Spade and Sparrow or something. And she has scrunchies that actually I should probably order. They're very cute. Like Dude It, I think they're called. And then she has her own podcast. She just started a video series. She has she put out a song, like, and maybe even a full album. She's just really like going for it. And she ended up meeting Jason Tartik, I think his last name is pronounced, through her podcast. Oh, and she did a live tour all over the country. Just like really, really cool stuff, like very inspiring. And she has this huge house in Nashville now, and like 2 very cute golden doodles or whatever they're called. And Jason lives there too, and she seems really happy. And yeah, just very cool, like inspirational person who like put herself out there, been through some caca, if you will, and has managed to kind of like create this beautiful life for herself after having to go through kind of a lot. And that doesn't even include her time before The Bachelor. So anywho, I'm sure I'll do a whole nother episode on more Bachelor stuff in the future, but just wanted to plop in while the news was fresh about Clare and share what we could. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Comment. If this is on YouTube, you can comment below. I would love that. Or we just recently got posted to Spotify and iTunes, or Apple Podcasts now, so you can listen to that there, vice versa. Let me know what you think. We appreciate it so much. Have a great night. Cheers. Enjoy your dinner or your breakfast or whatever you're doing. Alrighty. Bye.